Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya Baldwin. I am from Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. That's my company. I'm a trauma wellness healer, which means that I combine my traditional knowledge from being an RN, my knowledge around mental health, health and wellness, as well as learned education that I've taken around trauma, including heart math, somatic experiencing, and a bunch of other things, as well as my own lived experience with trauma that I've brought forward to use for healing. And I combine all of this with things like oracle cards, with moon phases, with crystal and energetic healing. Yeah, just all different things pushed together there because I believe that there's really a holistic way to heal. And the biggest part of healing your trauma is just learning to love yourself as you authentically are. And when you get there, you're in a pretty good space, especially if you've got a bunch of soothing skills that you can use while you're at it. So I did the card pull already. Obviously, I always shuffle and do that beforehand because one, I sometimes can be a messy shuffler and we just don't need to see me going like this as I bend over to pick up, 10 cards that I threw away. So, hi, Sarah. Happy Sunday to you as well. And it is a beautiful Sunday. So I pulled the cards, and the first card that I pulled was a change in the wind, but I pulled it in protection mode. So I'll read what the messages are for it all together, but I will highlight the protection statement. It's the number 12 card. Good morning. I'm not sure who said good morning there because I can't see you, but I think there's something about giving StreamYard permission to show your username. Sorry, I sit cross-legged a lot, so this is me just getting cross-legged on my chair, which is a higher one of those higher chairs for higher table. So let's see what the message is for the a change in the wind, but in protection mode, and we'll see how that shows up for other people. Right? If it resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, then feel free to just let it go. Okay, so the essential meanings of a change in the wind is a sense that unseen change has been initiated, preparation for a storm, awareness that your plans are not on firm ground, feeling a shift, uncertainty about which directions the winds will blow. But remember, I pulled it in protection mode, so we'll highlight that statement, but I'm just going to read the oracle's message before we get there. So it's human nature to yearn for certainty and resist change, to want the world to remain consistent like a zebra's stripes. Yet nothing in human experience is black and white, nor will anything remain static. That's one of those pitfalls that we get into as children living in traumatized homes, though, is expecting life to be black and white. We look at things and we're like, it either is or it isn't. That person is either good for us or they're not. There's not, they could have shades in their personality. It's just that person's good or bad. That situation's good or bad. That thing is right or wrong. There's no gray area in there at all. So it is one of those unhealthy coping habits that we get. And it's understandable where we get it. But just hopefully you're not still adhering to that, or you're waking up to the fact that you do that. So the one thing that is guaranteed is change. Now is a time of transformation as outer conditions are temporarily moving out of sync with your desires and expectations. Stay the course and remember that even storms serve to clear the air, scatter seeds, and nourish the soil for better things ahead. Life is about to get interesting. Anticipate it with curiosity as you wonder what is coming in on the shifting winds. The unknown is where the magic lies. So the protection message is there are conditions brewing in your life that you have no control over. Don't fight them. Change is inevitable and is for the best. Even if the storm blows away the structures you think you've built your dreams on, all will turn out as it should. You will have a renewed clarity and strength to do something even better. Spirit is your ally. So it could be just something that, you had planned and thought, maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe that's the right direction to go in. And this is coming in to tell you, no, wait, maybe you just have to turn it just a little bit. Maybe you were heading due north and you need to go a little northeast. Who knows? But that's just, what that card is saying is just be ready. There's change coming and it is for your best. Good morning. I'm thinking that's Amrapreet. I might be right, but because sometimes when you see the good mornings, you can figure it out. But if not, just let me know who you are, because all I'm seeing for the last two people that said good morning is Facebook user. So then for the tarot card, I actually pulled the Fool. Now the Fool doesn't actually have a number. It's a major arcana, but it's a 0. It's the first card in a tarot deck is the Fool. And she looks beautiful. You can see the flower of life. She's got a piece of amethyst. She's letting go with just carefree. Just let's go. Let's go. All right. So let's see what the Fool tells us as our message. So in this position, it's the position that I pulled it in. It's the light seer position, and it talks of new beginnings. So that change is pushing us towards new beginnings, potential adventures, enthusiasm, awakening, innocence, optimism. Sometimes the direction or the new beginning isn't externally. The new beginning could be within yourself, that you're birthing a new version of yourself, right? You're awakening to who you truly are. In the shadow seer, so this is just a warning, naivety, assuming you already have the answer, rash or impulsive choices, lacking experience, analysis paralysis, and foolishness. So every dream achieved begins with the seemingly foolish notion that there's something bigger out there, something greater to explore and to become. This childlike optimism comes from deep within your knowing, and it reminds you that you can achieve all the magical things that you've been dreaming about. The journey of the soul begins with a single step, and you may find yourself on the edge of an epic journey. Turn towards your future with enthusiasm and know that a divine leap of faith is required in order to claim the reward that the abyss is offering. You may not feel ready, you may not be ready, but there is magic in the air, and the universe is waiting to support you with infinite love and guidance. Trust your intuition as you swan dive into the seed of potential. I am ready for this adventure down my soul path. So this card talking about that change, right? Even in protection mode, it was still talking about change. I'm going to go back to the card. Because there's conditions that you have. So not to fight the change, right? To just leap in, let go, go. It's coming. It's coming. Sorry, I just wanted to see if I could see what the necklace was that she's wearing, but I can't make it out right now. Yeah, just let go, or you're going to be okay. Spirit's there to guide you. So the other oracle card that I pulled up was Beloved, radical acceptance. So this is all about accepting where you're at and accepting where you're headed. And it might not be where you thought you were going. There's a change that's brewing, that's shifting you out of that direction, opening your eyes to maybe something new. You've got to just go for it, and Spirit's going to be there to protect you. It's coming for you, and you have to just radically accept it. So let's check Beloved and see what helps to have the right book. So Beloved is 2. So we have 12, which would be a 3. We had a 0 and now 2. So really 2 and 3 is the numbers. But you could check out the message behind the number, like the number 0. So the object of affection, radical acceptance, loving what is. And it's interesting because I put a post up yesterday about loving, accepting them where they're at. When the beloved appears, it requires 100% of your heart, body, and soul. Don't try to squeeze the beloved into your schedule. Drop the busyness and receive the one you have been waiting for. Know that this card comes as a mirror to show you the divine within you and invite your radical acceptance of everything you consider beautiful or ugly in your being. Right? We have to accept those dark parts of us too. Sometimes I'm lazy. Sometimes I'm not a good friend. Sometimes I'm selfish because I do inherently want to put my needs first. But sometimes I get just wrapped up in being a homebody. I really enjoy being in my space and with my stuff that I might not make time out for other people, right? So that could make me be a bad friend. And I have to accept that that's also who I am. I'm also very generous. I can be very generous with the people that I love. So accepting your dark and your light, that's getting to that full acceptance. So the beloved may not be a person at all. It might be a business venture, a project, or an adventure calling for your full attention. So that change that's coming, there's this new, right? You have to be the fool and just go for it to get to here. That's radical acceptance. Love it. Let it light you up and give it your all. Surrender to this truth and know that you're gaining a passport to bliss, even when it feels like you're being consumed by the fire of the beloved. Do not hold back or be afraid, for you will emerge transformed. Surrender is the key. Allow yourself to be loved. Loved by yourself first and foremost, people. Usher the harsh critic out the door and shut your eyes and ears to the judgment of others who have not been ignited by the divine blaze consuming you, for they will only attempt to douse your fire and leave you choking on the smoke. Right? If I had waited for everyone to accept me where I'm at, I wouldn't be doing this morning, because there are many people in my life. I'm a nurse, so a very scientific position that I work, right? So there are a lot of people in my life that are very rigid in their belief systems and might think that doing all of this, energetics in and of itself, is just woo-woo, right? There's a lot of people that don't believe in tarot or oracle cards or energetic healing or crystals or anything like that. So if I waited for everyone to accept my calling for me, I would never be doing this. I have to radically accept it and not worry about the fact that there'll be people that will be in my life that won't accept it. Just allow them to go on their way, right? So if they will only attempt to douse your fire and leave you choking on the smoke. Be careful you are not seduced by false promises or falling prey to your extraordinary ability to sabotage your dreams and desires. If your limiting belief system continually tells you that you are a failure, then when an opportunity comes by for you to follow your dreams, your passion, your purpose, and go down that divine calling, if you don't follow that because of fear or because your limiting belief still says, I'm a failure of some sort, you're going to sabotage yourself and you won't actually reach for what you're supposed to be reaching for. So sync with and sink into your heart and trust your sense of what is true, and you will know what to do. The true beloved is never false. Every gift proffered is valuable. Recognize the many faces of the beloved and welcome them into your heart. You will be so glad you did. So if we're talking about like a career or, in that sense, so there's that wind of change and it's in protection mode. So, it's telling you that there's change about, and just to accept it, surrender to that change. And it may be a little bit upsetting because it may not be what you were looking for. Right. So if we're talking about a business, it could be maybe you were looking at a specific career. Maybe you applied for a job and you want to get it, but that job's not going to come to you because what you're supposed to be going after is over here. Maybe it's a different job and you just have to go for it, even though maybe it's showing up and you're feeling like you've got a little bit of imposter syndrome. You want to go that way, but you think this is the right way because it's familiar. So you want to go in that direction because it feels the right way. This is telling you that's not, to head in this new direction, and just radically accept the fact and be okay with whatever it is that's showing up for you in that way. Hi. Yeah, exactly. Allow them to go their own way and be yourself. And it's true, right? We can't always force people to be with us, right? Some people come in for a season or a lesson. They just come in to teach us something about ourselves. They can teach us what we love about ourselves. They can teach us what we're not willing to tolerate. Those things are vital lessons to learn. And sometimes they're very painful lessons to learn. I put up a post the other day, which is interesting with this whole radical acceptance. I put up a post the other day about accepting them where they're at, not where you wish they were, right? Because a lot of times that's how we enter into our relationships. We enter in with these expectations of, well, if he dressed better, if he had better friends, if he had a better job, if he was, more aware, more awake, maybe if he did meditation, maybe if he did yoga. I mean, I don't know. We have all these expectations we put on people. If only he just, listened to me a little better. If only, he would be more romantic. If only he would be, maybe more public about our relationship and showing me off to his friends. Well, maybe he's just who he is, or maybe the relationship isn't where you think it is, right? Like those things could always be a potential as well. Absolutely, Sarah. I'm going to pull you one from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Okay. Because that one, I like to use that one because it has messages that are streamed towards relationship, prosperity, an overall general message, plus the protection message. So I like that it has those options to it. Whereas some of the other cards are just like, they're a little more flat with the messages that they give. So for Sarah, we're going to talk to the cards. Going to get your energy in there. Just looking at your name and thinking about you and see. Well, that is a beautiful card, and I hope you're prepared for action. So the card that I pulled, and I'm just getting to the spot in the deck, is number 1. So I don't know, maybe this was all for you, Sarah. Now you have a 0, 1, 2, and 3 are the numbers for this morning, although this one is specifically for you. So Yang is an action card. Yang is about taking the first step. That's about putting, so the essential meanings, this is the Yang card, right? The masculine, sorry, this is the masculine card. Yin is the feminine card. So Yang is all about giving. Yin is about receiving, right? But like it's that masculine, feminine energy within those two. So the masculine principle of movement and creativity, the power to make things happen, taking action. The oracle's message. Yang represents the power of action, the energies that propel the world forward and manifesting thought and desire into concrete form. Now is the perfect time to act, for you can easily build momentum and make headway. What you want will come to fruition if you proceed confidently. This card signifies new life and is a sure sign that obstacles have been overcome. There's no reason to hesitate. You are the shaper of your destiny now. In a relationship, circumstances are supporting action on your part. It's okay to make the first move. Trust that you will quickly know where you stand. In matters of the heart, if there is movement toward your highest good, so go forth with assurance. Passion is in the air, and now is the time to dance to the tune of love. Take the lead. Kept trying to read this in the next lesson, the next sentence before the first sentence. Okay. The prosperity message. Projects, partnerships, and all matters relating to your business are out of the obstacle phase and onto the make it happen phase. Now is the time to stake your claim and get things done. While you can expect to be busier than usual, this card tells you that you have all the energy and vitality you need to accomplish your goals. All abundance is waiting for you to claim it. So in the protection, and I'll just read that as just a protection message for you. Be mindful of the tendency toward impulsive action, overconfidence, and aggressive behavior. Sometimes when we get this masculine energy card, we fire up into that action state, and we can get a bit aggressive and overwhelming, like we almost take on too much of the masculine energy. So we have to just be cautious of that, right? We don't want to be aggressive or overconfident or, go and do everything and burn ourselves out. So be sure you really want what you're chasing after, because you might be sorry when you get it. The appearance of this card isn't for fear, for life is all about learning lessons. Practice temperaments, diplomacy, and thoughtful consideration before making a move. So does that resonate with you? Are you in the position of making a decision about, do you feel like it's go time, it's time to make action? Do any of the relationship or, is there somebody that you're considering in relationship sphere that maybe it's time that you take a step towards? The time is now. It's a great time. I love the action card. I feel like the position of this, my roommate switched my laptop and put it on this side, but I think with the light behind it, I definitely need to have the light on above, or else I get a bit faded out. So yeah, cool message. If anyone else wanted a card, I'm willing to do that. Haven't been on for that long, so I'm willing to pull a card for anybody else if they'd want one. Just let me know, and let me know by saying who you are as well, because I can see Sarah's name, but everybody else so far has just been Facebook user. So if you do want a card pulled for you this morning, just say your name and let me know. And if you are asking a specific question, like if you're asking specifically about relationship, you can let me know that as well. And then I will just read the relationship part. But for the most part, I'll read the entire message out, because I'm not sure if it's in the relationship area or if it's in your prosperity or personal development. Like, it's just, so I'll just read the entire card and give the message. And who knows, somebody might get a cleat on. So a cleat on is when, if I had pulled this card for Sarah and someone was listening and they were like, wow, that message is like, sounds like it's perfect for me. That's a cleat on. You're getting a message that was delivered to somebody else, but has a important message for you as well. So if anybody wants a card, I'll be here for a moment. But I was talking about that whole, accepting people where they're at. And some people think that, because I said that that's unconditional love. And it is. If I'm accepting somebody in a position of, I'm accepting you as who I think you have the potential to be, that is not unconditional love. That's you accepting someone. Hi, Robin. How are you? I can definitely pull a card for you. Let's shuffle these cards for Robin. Out of all the decks of cards, I seem to shuffle this one with the most ease, not making a mess. Sometimes our messages, so I pulled the 3, which is called Between Worlds. Okay. A number 3. We've been all the high numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 3. Now we have 2 3s on that we've pulled. So Between Worlds, transitions, not quite being out of one situation and fully engaged in another, temporary blindness, no man's land. So I'll read the entire card, but focus mostly on the relationship message. Okay, Robin? And I did not pull it in the protection state. I pulled it directly up and down. So Between the Worlds is where you must let go of the tendency to make assumptions. This is a time when you are unable to see what is ahead. Cultivate curiosity and trust the process of change and growth. You are done learning the lessons of recent experiences. In this place, between what was and what will be, is a state of making and unmaking and making again. What is essential now is to admit not knowing. There is a great freedom and power to be unleashed. A mystery that is not yours to understand weaves the web of life within a divine matrix of consciousness greater than your own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, desires, and decisions. The seeds that were planted in the past begin to take root, and what surfaces will probably not be what you expect. When you are between the worlds, you are invited to see with the curious eyes of a child glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. Do so, and you won't be disappointed. Relationship message. This is a time to explore the new energy between you and another. It is not a moment for certainty, but rather for discovery and curiosity. You don't yet know if this will last forever, so allow yourself to explore who you are and what is reflected back at you. This relationship is meant to educate you about yourself. What do you need? What do you like or dislike? What values are most important to you? You are in a critical phase of your relationship that is not to be dismissed or hurried. So for anyone that is listening, and maybe this will show up as a message for you, I'm going to read the prosperity message and then also the protection message. So prosperity message. In your work, sometimes you try things that have worked for others, hoping that you too will be successful. When this symbol appears, it reminds you that sometimes the path to your prosperity is a gamble. Win or lose, you can learn much from what comes from your wager. It's a good time to bet on your skills and talents in new and different arenas. Remain curious, and with the right combination of timing and luck, you will stumble upon something golden that will be unlike anything you've known before. And in protection mode, it's be mindful of your expectations. This is not a time for guarantees. Things will not go exactly as you plan or dictate. Let go and see what Spirit has in store. What takes hold in your life will be better than you can imagine. So within that relationship message, wherever the difficulties are that are in your relationship, they're asking you to look at that and say, is this what do I want? What do I inherently need? What's going to make me happy? What values do I have about a relationship? And it might be showing you that the space, the difficulty that's occurring within your relationship now is just the experience or the education or the lessons that you need to learn so that you show up more authentically as yourself and you step out of that relationship owning who you are and knowing that this is what you want, this is what you need, this is how you want a relationship to be, this is how you're going to show up, right? Or it could be just that you're going to stand up to in your relationship and say, this is how these are the things that I need within my relationship, these are my values, right? So now is a time to just reflect on those things. What do you inherently want? What would make you happy? How does the relationship need to show up for you and to make it work? And it might be an indication that for this relationship, it might not work and you'll have to step out of it into something new, or that it's going to be just a new phase of your relationship when you get through it. But it'll be a healthier phase because you'll be an active participant in it by saying, these are my values and this is what I want. Does that resonate with you, Robin, at all? And if anyone else wants to have a card pull, I'm willing to stay here until 9:30, I guess, unless, nobody says they want a card pull or everybody leaves, and then I'll probably close it off. But if someone shows up in the next, 8 minutes, I'm willing to pull a card. But first, coffee. So on Tuesday, if you're not part of my Divine Feminine Healing Collective, on Tuesday, we welcome the new moon ceremony in Scorpio. And Scorpio begins the eclipse season, which lasts, I think, until November 8th, if I'm not mistaken for the date. Scorpio is a very mysterious sign. It's very sensual and dark. And, it looks, a bit about the mystical, the occult, all of that stuff. And it's in an eclipse, so things are going to be felt really, really strongly. And just be aware of that. But I will be having a ceremony in my Divine Feminine Collective. So if you want to join that. Transition time so difficult when you have anxiety. This helps remind me of this time in between to think about what I want and need. Oh, you're so welcome. So for anxiety, this one here is a fantastic technique. It's just to go, if you're feeling anxious, do the figure 8 around your face, and you just keep doing it until you yawn. And that's an indication that your parasympathetic nervous system is kicking on board. If you're anxious and it's because you've been distressed in some fashion, you can self-soothe by rubbing your arms downwards like this. It will bring you into your delta waves with your brain. So it actually alters your brain into a different state. It feels like you're being soothed like how you would have been soothed as a child. It's the same feeling that it brings to your body. So you just rub in a downward phase. You can be telling yourself things like, I'm safe, I am protected, I am loved, I'm whole, I'm healthy, I'm capable, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, whatever you need to for that. If the anxiety is because your mind is racing too far ahead and you need to pull back into the present moment, if you rub your fingers with your thumb and you can repeat these 2 lines, where am I? Here. What time is it? Now. So that breaks that chain of thought that's chasing all of those, those fearful thoughts, the ruminating, right? You pull your thoughts back into just those 2 statements. Where am I? Here. What time is it? Now. And then finally, if you put your hand on your chest, now my camera's flipped, so this is my right hand, right? You could put it over the left side of your chest. You could put it in the center of your chest. Your chakra system is through the center of your body. So that's why I always put it on my center of my chest. Plus your heart isn't way over. It actually comes over into this space here with the tip of your heart and over to the center. So you're still connecting with your heart with your hand here. And just connect with your heart, with your hand on your heart. And you're just going to breathe in and out through this space by lengthening and deepening your breath to about a 5-second inhale and an 8-second exhale. So we really want to slow it down. If you can do that for 3 minutes, it turns your body into a super healing machine. Then the effects last for 6 hours. And if you can tie that with listening to 0.1 hertz on a recording, it will bring you into the same frequency as the heartbeat of the center of the earth. So those are 4 little tips that will help with anxiety. The figure 8, you don't even have to touch your face. Even just doing this, the crossing over. I'm not anxious right now. So it worked for me really well. So those things should help. So if anyone wants a card, just let me know. I got a few more minutes here that I'll keep this open for, and I can pull a card for another person. But I love you guys. And I thank you for showing up with me this morning. And remember, just show up as you, love you, right? You got to put yourself first. You got to love yourself, right? It's not selfish. It's the way that it's supposed to be. Same thing with loving people where they at instead of expecting them to be something that they're not. We should be showing up in relationships. And I talk about this, and my girlfriend and I talk about it all the time. We're like, why do people pretend to be something that they're not in the beginning of a relationship, right? We start off the relationship and we're like, I'm going to pretend that I like sports, and I'm going to pretend that I like to drink beer, and I'm going to pretend that I like to do all these things. I'm talking in a girl sense. I'm going to pretend that, yeah, I'm into cars and I'm into partying and whatever. You take on that personality of the person that you're dating. And it's like, but why? Why become that person? And then later on, you can't keep that up. So you're going to stop being that. The same thing, when you have all those people doing scams where they're like, I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to pretend I'm like some person that's 6 foot and has 6 figures and a 6-pack. And meanwhile, I'm living in, Africa, or I'm living in, somewhere else. I'm living in Detroit, and I've told you I live in Europe, and I live in Detroit, and instead of being 6 feet tall, I'm 5'2", and instead of having a 6-pack, I'm really overweight, or whatever. Like, why pretend to be something that you're not to try to get somebody? Because even if they fall in love with you, they're not falling in love with you. They're falling in love with who you've pretended to be, and eventually they're going to get. You're not going to be able to stay pretending to be that. So that's where that whole thing is where they're at, right? A lot of times we get in relationships and we stay in them, and it's an 80-20. 80% of the relationship is great, but 20% is either not good or full on unhealthy or toxic. And I know, because I was there 3 times, in fact. Great people, but just not for me. Right. And there was a lot of learning and lessons that I had to have. I had to learn these lessons so that I could find out who I was underneath it all and become the person that I'm supposed to be without worrying about other people influencing that. Right. I'm me. I love me. And if you want to be with me, cool. If you don't, doorway swings both ways. It's not locked. Just leave. Because when they leave, then what is for me comes to me. Right. And that's the only way that I can have it. I can't have a good relationship if I continue to hold on to a bad one. Just like I can't have a good job if I continue to go to one that's toxic. It's just going to stay that way. Right. You have to leave the things that aren't good for you to allow things that are the opportunity to come in. It's hard, but it's the way that life goes in a way. Right. It's just the way that love is. All right. Well, I love you guys, but nobody else has asked for a card unless somebody just showed up, wants a card. And if you do, well, let me know now, or forever hold your peace, or at least hold it till tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll get my stuff together in time that I'll be able to do a card pull for someone before I go to work. But I usually end up running around too fast that I don't have enough time to pull individual cards for people. So I just do the reading for the collective. So anyway, connect with me if you want any of those things. I have multiple groups that I have available. I have Calm Spaces. Calm Spaces has about 40 weeks worth of recorded videos all around resiliency and my Calm Spaces technique. So it can teach you a lot of different tips and techniques on how to manage anxiety and depression and panic disorder. So though that group is there, I have Mind, Body, Spirit, Healthy Self. That is the group that's tied to my company. And that just talks about all things like trauma, and really is the group that is associated with my business page. I have the Divine Feminine Healing Collective, which is a group for women where we do healing surrounding the phases of the moon. We let go of things and we set intentions. I do healing sessions that are energetics, energetic meditations involving crystals and, my energy as well. And it also involves tarot and oracle cards. And then I have a new group that I formed called the Crystal Coven. And that is all going to be all about kind of like witchy stuff, like more of an education group. And we're going to do, we're going to actually go crystal hunting, and we'll set up events for that within that group. So those are the groups that I have. There is plans. I know, I don't know why, but I'm going to have a 5th group, but that's just because I want to have a men's only group, just like I have with the women. There's a part of me that wants to call it the masculine, the divine masculine healing tribe is what I was leaning towards. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. And I'm waiting to phase out this week. This week is my very busy week because I have both. It's the last week at my current position. And then I'm driving across the country to Ontario, and I should be there by the 31st of October. So the beginning of November, I will be in a new house. all ready to start up and ready to run with some new clients in a 12-week program to resolve trauma. So if you're interested in that, connect with me and I'll let you know. I'll let you know all the details about that. But I love you and I hope you have a blessed Sunday. And I hope that the messages that I conveyed through this reading, that they resonated with you, or that some of the other stuff that I talk about in general during the reading, it resonates with you and gives you some lessons. If not, just at least try to watch those 4 tips that I gave for anxiety and for soothing. Okay. But I love you and you have a great day.